Good evening, and thank you so much for joining me. First of all, if you or somebody you know is feeling suicidal, please call Lifeline on 13 11 14. If you or somebody you know is facing domestic or family violence, please call 1-800-737-732. That is the number for 1-800-RESPECT, or call 000 if you need help. So we are all at different stages of personal development in our lives, and this is determined by how we see the world, our experiences growing up, any trauma, including generational trauma that we may have endured, and our current situations. So this shapes our actions, our responses, our reactions, our beliefs, and our decision-making processes. And it also determines the level of consciousness that we are at. So tonight I will be talking about the 4 levels of consciousness, or to put it simply, the state of mind that we operate from generally on a daily basis. The first 2 levels is the one that I was personally stuck in for a very long time. And I know that some of you watching tonight may actually be able to relate to this. I've simplified it down to 4 levels from which we operate from. If you want to get more intricate, you are most welcome to do that. And you can slice it up, cut it into 7 or 8 different levels. It's totally up to you. And if you want to talk about this in depth, send me a personal message. You know where I am. I am never hard to find. So while I am explaining the 4 levels, I want you to think about yourself, your parents, other people around you, and ask yourself, where are you and where are the people around you at? And if you have experienced intergenerational trauma, which level do you think your parents and their ancestors or other family members may be at? And if you feel stuck, why? Why do you feel stuck? Before I explain the levels, I want to draw your attention to something. Here's a question for you. What does healing even mean? Now, this is just my opinion, and clearly I'm going to be sticking to it. In the counseling and coaching world, the word healing it can be really overused, and I find it quite often that it's quite overused. And you will hear things like, oh, it's time to heal, you need to heal yourself, it's all about the healing process. What does that even mean? Like, what exactly is healing? What do you do to heal? What does healing comprise of? You know, how are you supposed to heal? How are you supposed to feel? The word healing doesn't exactly give you a definitive meaning to your situation. So I'm going to give you my definition of what I think it is, what basic healing means, according to me, and I am a counselor and a coach as well. Healing is acknowledging, understanding, and then, and this is the key word here, managing your triggers, your emotions, your actions, and your reactions. It's not about getting over something. It's not about letting go. It doesn't have to be spiritual or religious. It's not about meditating all the time. The word healing is sometimes really associated with a spiritual journey, and that's not necessarily so, because not everybody is religious or spiritual. It's management. That's what healing is. It's management. How to manage yourself in such a way that is not harmful to yourself and the people around you. So if you are able to acknowledge and understand and manage your physical, emotional, personal, or sexual reactions to things, you're transforming. That's transforming. Healing, the word healing is almost a confusing, fancy word for something as simple as transforming through a mindset, or transforming through management, rather. So to make it easier for yourself, you can even replace the word healing with, I am transforming. I am managing. I am understanding myself. Whatever you feel like. It might make a difference to your mindset. Up to you. All right, here we go. These are the 4 levels of consciousness that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And just keep in mind that we fluctuate in these levels depending on certain circumstances. And I'll give you examples as I go along. So number 1 is survival. It's literally just surviving. Now, you know, you feel as if you are just trying to make it through. Apologies if my eyes are not on the camera all the time. I have my notes in front of me because I can't remember everything at once. So Survival consciousness is what we call it. And what it means is that you are living your life at a level of consciousness and you are trying to survive in the world with all the basics, trying to make it through day by day, trying to make it through your job, your relationships, your emotions, your finances, your physical health. Perhaps you have lost a job or you have gone through a rough breakup. It could be complicated issues with maybe your visa status, and you need to find a way to stay in the country. Whatever it is, for you, this means survival. You are literally trying to survive. And sometimes it's at any cost. So living in this state of mind of I am trying to survive and make it through, it can lead to some detrimental things that we do. It can lead to addictions. It can lead to envy, manipulation, lying, cheating, hurting people. It can lead to greed, and it feels justified because, well, you need to survive. And sometimes you turn to plotting schemes. It also means that you might be defensive and overly cautious. You might be a micromanager at work or at home to ensure that your needs are met. Basic survival is about having your basic needs met. Sometimes this state of mind, level of consciousness, it can be temporary. So for example, maybe you have gone through the loss of a loved one or a breakdown of a marriage, and you are trying to survive your emotions. And I went through this a few months ago. When my grandmother passed away, I felt like I was just trying to survive my emotions. And for me, that was back down to this level of consciousness for a while. And I, to be honest, I actually felt stuck. But for some people, this is a permanent state of mind. Those people who have gone through trauma, abandonment, parental alienation, poverty, abuse, neglect, particularly in their childhood, they perceive a number of things as threats to their personal, emotional, or physical safety. This means that they stay at this level of consciousness because for them, they need to survive by any means necessary. This is why learning about the effects of trauma is so important, so that you can understand yourself and why people do what they do. As a means to survive, people often turn to what they think is going to help them survive and cope and bring them comfort. Drugs, sex, alcohol, cigarettes, antisocial behavior, food. It's all comfort. There is no peace for people who live in this state of mind. And when your mental health suffers, so does your physical health, so does your immune system. So questions to ask yourself if you feel you are in this state of mind: why am I at this level and just trying to survive? What is it that I perceive to be a threat? What do you see around you on a daily basis? What do you feel is a threat to your emotional, physical, spiritual, or personal safety? Do I need to be here? Do I need to be at this level of consciousness? What can I change? Could it be that you have already surpassed this level, but you are just so used to being at this level, and so you're stuck? What beliefs do you hold that limit you from growing or transforming, as I was saying? So be honest with yourself. There's no right and wrong. Please don't feel guilty or ashamed. You are where you are right now for a reason, but you, my darling, can always be the change of that reason. So there's no shame in this. I just want you to ask yourself these questions so you know where you are right now and you know where you feel you need to make a change. Now, the next one, this is the most intense one. I'm telling you, I stayed here. I was in this place for a very long time. Blame, revenge, and a deregulated ego. I didn't choose this life. This life happened to me. That's the mentality that we have. Excuse me, I need some water. A very common state of mind. I was there for a very long time and I was so angry. I was very angry. I was very bitter. So I know this one. This one hits home. So answer this question as truthfully as you can. Do you find yourself constantly blaming the world, blaming God, blaming the universe, your parents, your upbringing, your boss, maybe even your children? Do you blame them for your suffering? Do you blame them for your drinking, for your smoking, for your failures, for your actions, for your reactions? Do you blame them for your violence? Do you blame them for your abusive behavior or your anger issues? Do you blame them for how your life is? Is everything an external fault and not anything internal? Now, yes, people can be the cause of your trauma. Absolutely. They can be the cause of your trauma, your suffering, your pain. But there's a universal truth that you and we both know. And you know what that is? You cannot undo an action once it's been done. You cannot unsay something once it's been said. So no matter how much you blame a person, you cannot rewind time. And that's the hardest thing to accept. Accepting that a bad thing has happened to us is very difficult. And that in itself is a process. Just accepting. That is a process. And just to keep in mind that acceptance does not mean that somebody who has caused you pain and trauma, it does not mean that that's okay. It does not mean that they are forgive and forget. It does not mean anything. Acceptance literally means that you accept that you cannot change something. That's all it is. That's all acceptance is. So because we are afraid of reliving the pain again, we blame others to block it out of our mind. We don't deal with it because if we accept it, it becomes real. Remember, when you accept something, it doesn't mean you agree with it. It just means you cannot change it. But a lot of times we are not even ready to accept that it has happened. Sometimes we think we deserve something bad that has happened, or other times we don't know how to help ourselves. So we suppress the feelings and don't know how to deal with it. We block it out of our mind. And how do you think we do that? We drink, we smoke, we turn to sex, we turn to violence, we distract ourselves with work, with books, with friends. We remain emotionally deregulated. We have not regulated our emotions at this point. Just because you don't want to deal with something that has happened, it does not mean your emotions are regulated. We think the feeling will go away itself. Or we blame and we do not take ownership of our emotions. We continue this cycle and we stay there for a very long time, and it becomes very comfortable. Those who operate from this state of mind sometimes turn to revenge as well, because everything was everyone else's fault and they must pay, right? That's the state of mind people get into. And you want them to feel how you felt. So blame and revenge, they go hand in hand. They're best friends. They are best friends. And they affect, that can affect your life. It can turn fatal. You want somebody to feel how you felt. They are the cause of your suffering. Now you want them to feel the effect. But getting justice comes at a price. Like I said, it can be fatal. But the funny thing is, well, it's not funny, but it happens. People who get revenge and try and get caught getting revenge, they will still blame the other person. They will still not take ownership for what they've done in trying to get revenge. Blame becomes second nature to you. And you won't like it if somebody calls you out for being wrong, which leads me to a deregulated ego. A deregulated ego is not going to allow you to admit that you've made a mistake. And it can affect your moods, decisions, and actions. It can affect your reactions. A deregulated ego means that you can be arrogant. We blame everyone else, but do not take ownership for our own actions and our reactions and our responses. These are the only things we can control. Unless if you are under duress, no one can make you do something that you do not want to do. So you can blame all you want, but truth be told, it doesn't get you anywhere. I'm going to give you an example. Once again, it's a personal example because I have been through these stages. I used to blame my father, who has been absent since I was a baby for the last 29 years. I used to blame him for my drinking. But if he has never been in my life, how could this be his fault? He did not tell me to drink because I did it. That's not his fault directly. How I felt due to his actions, yes, may be related to him. But instead of doing something about my negative emotions, I continued to blame him. So my point is, my drinking was not his fault. He didn't ask me to do that. That was my decision, right? But I blamed him. That's the thing. He was the scapegoat. Because it's so much easier to blame people than to actually acknowledge that there's something wrong. That's the hardest part. That's very hard. But all of this, the blame, the desire for revenge, the deregulated ego, it hurts you. It really hurts you. It doesn't hurt the person you're blaming. You are the one who suffers. You suffer in your mind, and your mental comes out on you physically. It can ruin so much of your health can be ruined by doing this. The people around you suffer as well. If you continue to stay at this level of blame, revenge, and deregulated ego, you are not giving yourself a chance to grow, to become confident, and you are limiting your beliefs and your potential. That's what happens when we live in this cycle, when we live in this stage. And a lot of people are stuck in this phase. It's a hard one to get out of, I know. And especially when you are used to this way of operating. In order to change, you have to change the way you think. So the first thing is acknowledging that this is how you are thinking and this is what you are doing. So I want you to ask yourself this: who am I blaming and why? Do I want to control my emotions, or do I want to let my emotions control me? Is this state of mind helping me to get to where I want to be? Is revenge necessary? Is the person who hurt you, are they capable of feeling the same way that you felt when they hurt you? Is it possible? Will they really feel like that? We don't know. Only you know the answer to this. So the next one here, these are my favorite ones, right? This is the next one. Personal responsibility, desire for knowledge, and transformation. This is elevation stage, people. This is the part where you're taking responsibility for yourself. Life did not happen to me, as we were thinking in the previous stage. Instead, life happens with me. Life happens with how I want it to happen. People who hurt you cannot control your thoughts. At this level, you are free flowing. You are ever present. You are ready to get rid of these negative behaviors and thoughts. You start to understand trauma, intergenerational trauma, conditioning. You understand your parents, their trauma. You understand that not everything needs a reaction or a response. You understand, and you become more compassionate and more forgiving if you want to be. It does not take away from the trauma that you have been caused. Being at this state of mind does not mean that the person who hurt you, it didn't happen, or that you have to forget about it. None of that. It means that you are managing your responses. If you set boundaries, your mind, your body, and your soul, they align with your morals and your boundaries and your purpose. At this level, you understand what's holding you back, which is a lot of the times yourself. We hold ourselves back. That's just, it happens. This is what we do. This is what I did. I did this for ages and ages. It was me holding myself back. So I know this. You know, at this level, you cease self-defeating behaviors and you want to know your soul and your purpose. So you start questioning. You question, who am I? Why am I here? And this will be on your mind all the time. You realize that a lot of stresses you have is actually quite unnecessary. You don't need to be this stressed out. Circle of control. If you don't know what it is, Google it. You also know what else is unnecessary? This is another thing you come to realize. Competition. You stop competing with people. You stop having materialistic desires. If you live your entire life like it's a competition with others, you have not lived at all. You haven't. At this level, all your worldly desires, they start to go, and you start to express yourself freely with your family who may have held you back previously, with your friends. All of this takes time. And at this level, you start making choices that align with you. So this is transformation level. So the chances are that if you are watching this right now, and if you have stayed these last 19 minutes, that some part of you is curious, which leads me to, last but not least, selfless service. Level 4, you got it. I am life. This is where you are making a difference in the world without expectation. without expectation of material or monetary returns. I tell you something, I've noticed this about some people. They think that good karma and doing good deeds, it's like a business investment. If I invest this much time and effort into doing something good, the universe is going to reward me. Good karma is not a business investment. When you're helping when you're helping someone, if your act has an ulterior motive, if you have a desire to receive a return on the good deeds that you are doing, let me tell you right now, that's not selfless. That is selfish. That is selfish. Because if at the back of your mind you have other intentions, right? And it makes no difference if you say it to me or to the world. If your intention is not pure, then you are not selfless, no matter how great it is that you want to believe that you are. The highest level of consciousness, of living, breathing, is acts of service without expectation in any form of return. It's pure love, whatever it is that you're good at, wherever your talents lie. It's what you were born to do. You do it with passion and you do it with love. You are guided by your soul and you are ready for what comes your way. No anger, no jealousy, no hate, no greed, no arrogance. None of that exists when you are here. Nothing, no arrogance about the good things that you do. And unfortunately, we live in a world where people do good things and they want people to know about it. Look at all these good things that I did. Look at all the charities I donated to. Look at all the people that I helped. Why do you have to advertise that? If you're doing it to inspire people to do good, great. But if you are doing it to get some recognition, to get fame, please believe me when I say that is selfish, that is not selfless. This level and anything that I have spoken about tonight, it's not about religion. You do not have to believe in God to be a good person. There are people who believe in God and they're horrible people. So this is actually about you and where you are at your life right now and where you want to go. So this is a journey. It's not a destination. You don't stop growing. You don't stop transforming. None of these things stop. It continues. So hopefully this has given you a general idea of the 4 states of mind that people are generally at. If you want to change or level up, start by analyzing yourself. Look at yourself and your life. Maybe look at yourself in third person. This requires a lot of honesty, a lot of soul searching. You have to be honest with yourself when you are trying to change. You have to know when you are toxic. You have to know where you have gone wrong. You have to drop your ego. All these things need to go. Analyze the people around you. Analyze yourself and go from there. All of this takes time, but the fact that you have watched me tonight means that you're curious, and curiosity is where the journey begins. So if you are feeling stuck or lost or confused, or if you need help or guidance, reach out to me. I've been there and I'm still on a journey. I've been there. I've been at level 1, level 2. I was there for a very long time. And, the journey doesn't end. So you can find me on YouTube and Instagram, Shalina Lodhia, or Sedate, SED8, which is my artist name. And remember that, there is no shame, not now and not ever, for asking for help, no matter how small or insignificant you think your problem is. You need to look after your mental health. Because once you start looking after your mental health, your whole world can change. Remember, your mental and your physical, they are one and the same. They are best friends. So please, please, please start by analyzing the people around you. Analyze your behaviors. Rewatch this video if you need to. Send me a message if you need to talk. And I will see you soon. So take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. And I'll see you in the next episode. And if you need to, reach out for help. No shame, not now and not ever, all right? I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you for joining.